Good evening and welcome to another edition of the FTTC podcast, sponsored by Cedar Hills Landfill, turning trash teams into environmental touchdowns. We are your home for breaking news and breaking balls in the fantasy sports world. From touchdowns to tailgates, we've got it all covered with a dash of witty banter. I'm your host, Jason Stankiewicz, and I'm joined here today by the Pacific Pioneer, the man they call Jacko, Mr. Jacko O'Malley. Jack, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Jazz? Thanks for hosting.
Not bad, man. Not bad. Looking forward to chatting some football with you. Recapping some of the events last season. You had a pretty decent year. It culminated in a pretty decent hot streak.
Yeah, it went okay. I think I lost in the semifinals for, I want to say, the third time, but life goes on.
Yeah. So we'll kick things right off with a little recap of last year. So as you mentioned, yeah, finished fourth. You finished 8-6. You're projected to finish fourth. With the post-draft projections. So you pretty much met expectations. You ended the season on a 5-game win streak. Do you feel that your team had more in it had the season been a little bit longer?
I know our commissioners stacked the cards against me the past few years now. I picked 12th last year, 12th the year before that, 11th again this year, but it's just same old for Jordy's ghost, and we'll persevere. Try to get hot a little bit earlier this year.
It is pretty incredible how frequently your draft pick has fallen either in the last slot or now, the second to last. I was looking back at your draft history earlier and I was tracking that. And I actually had a question I was going to ask a little bit later on it. So it's funny that you feel the commissioner might be stacking the deck against you.
Yeah, yeah. I think is one way to put it. I would say I know.
All right, well, getting back to this past season, obviously losing the semifinals is tough, but there was a lot of drama in the semifinals and finals overall. I want to get your opinion and your thoughts on kind of the way the league actually ended last year in terms of the championship. So just to kind of jog your memory a little bit, team Roadrunners Naz ended up taking home the title over the Disasters in a 2-point matchup that was decided by Joe Mixon's lack of production in the last game after the DeMar Hamlin situation. Obviously they worked out a resolution for it, but I want to get your take on whether or not you felt that was fair, or you thought it maybe sided a little bit in the Naz corner.
Just another classic case of Naz getting an unfair advantage. Just kind of an outsider, just plays by his own rules, and I wouldn't expect anything less from that owner.
I mean, along those lines, there's also some rumors that the Naz group itself was, back channeling some heavy amounts of cash to the commissioner. Any thoughts on that rumor floating out there?
Wouldn't surprise me, with the day and age of Bitcoin and Dogecoin, you never know. It's hard to track money. I'm sure Tom Brady was involved with his coin involvement.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems more and more probable based on the evidence we're compiling in the league that there might have been some side business going on there. But let's move past last season, start thinking about this season. Now you have a fourth and a third in back-to-back seasons, so it's clear that Jordy's ghost is on the up and up. Have you been improving anything in your off-season training regimen to start to push your team to the next level?
We just try to. There's a certain kind of player we go after, Jordy's ghost in mind. Players like Cooper Kupp have really led to some success in the past. So we might look into similar players like Hunter Renfrow, just guys that remind me of Jordy, and really will honor his memory.
Yeah, a lot of the scrappy guys in the league, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, high motor guys. That's the kind of guys we want to have.
Now, obviously you ended last year, like I mentioned, on a great win streak, but that meant that you were mired in a little bit of a slow start. Are you looking to change anything this year to try and get out of the gates a lot quicker?
Like I said, with picking 11th, sometimes you gotta deal with slow starts. We might be looking into guys like Jonathan Taylor, maybe that Detroit wide receiver that's suspended, whose name escapes me right now, but. Play the long game, try to get hot for the playoffs again, and just got to squeak in, and then you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's true. All you got to do is get there. Well, one thing that we've heard across the news line that you're doing to potentially improve your offseason is adding to your coaching staff. So there's a rumor that you have a new addition on its way. What do you think your new assistant will bring to the table?
Yeah, I'll have a coach, and we're gonna have some late nights. The assistant coach. Yeah, the two of us will be up. I think what they say is like every 45 minutes, 3 hours. So we'll try to stick to that schedule early on and make sure we're really grinding tape and making the right waiver wire decisions. So it'll be good to have
But
some on the front this year.
yeah, I mean, it seems like your new assistants could be pushing you to new heights and definitely forcing you to work a little bit harder. No doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's move on to the draft. As we already mentioned, a tough spot with your pick. Looking at your draft last year, you absolutely slammed RBs. So I had you with three RBs in the first four picks. Came out super RB heavy. Was that a strategy, or was that just kind of playing the board how it fell out?
I typically panic and draft RB as I see them flying off the board. I think there's probably 15 legitimately good ones in the NFL. So if you don't snag them early, you're going to be regretting it later on. And then usually I'll pick up some crappy slot receivers to round out my flex position. But yeah, that's a tried and true strategy for Jordy's Ghost. Just heavy RB.
Yeah, very heavy RB. Honestly, heavy wide receiver too. I had you with one non-running back or wide receiver in your first four picks in the last 5 years, and that was a tight end in 2019. So,
I believe
you
that was
know,
Kelsey. Is that correct?
George Kittle.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, I think that was a good year for Kittle too. So you might have got him at the right time. But picking in 11, you could have a ton of options available to you, but I'm not going to ask you to give away too much of your strategy this year. Is there any particular player though that you're hoping, he's rated a little bit higher, but you're hoping he might fall to you at 11?
I've got my eyes on Kelsey, and now that we've brought him up, I guess I need to buck the strategy of going, only RB and wide receiver. So, sometimes you gotta zig when everyone else is zagging. Um, I'm also terrified of rookie running backs such as Bizon Robinson, which seems like he might be in that vicinity, depending on how others feel about him. So, we'll see how that all shakes out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple people pretty high on Beyond. One
Okay,
of those people,
I'm happy to hear
was
it.
Mr. Nate Johnson. Actually had him as his fantasy MVP for the year, so he might be higher than most anyone I've heard. But
Okay.
every year there is someone who makes a pick that you go, "Wow, what were you thinking?
Mhm.
That's a terrible pick." Who do you think makes the worst pick this year?
If history tells us anything, it might be our host that I'm talking to here. I mean, I think you've had quite a few tough seasons. I'm happy to hear that Nate is high on Bijan. I think he's also had some rough years in the past. A little bit more cyclical or up and down, I guess, than yourself. But I think you won a couple years ago too. So I think that's the beauty of the league. You never know who's gonna fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you're not wrong. I've definitely had a couple drafts. I definitely had a couple head scratchers in there, but I like to think that I'm either gonna shoot for the stars and win the league, or play terribly, end up in last place, and have to host a podcast for a year. So
There you
you know,
go. Yeah.
either
Yep.
first or last. I like to play the extremes, but
Yep.
um, let's move on to some season predictions here, and I'm going to get you on a couple questions around like the regular NFL first, and we'll talk about some real life players, and then we'll talk about some predictions for the league. So
Okay.
I just mentioned Nate had B. John Robinson for his fantasy MVP. Who do you think is your fantasy MVP for the upcoming year?
It's hard to go against Justin Jefferson. I know that's chalk, but I like him. And then um, you know, I think some of these QBs are so good and so pass heavy now. Like as much as they don't go early, I mean, you can kind of just ride Mahomes or maybe Jalen Hurts, some of those top guys. Hopefully Justin Fields take them all the way to the playoffs, but
Hey, I think we'd love to see that, right?
that would be fun. That would make for a good year. But
I think that would be awesome.
yeah.
But let's talk about a couple teams that might have their best possible year. Who you got in the Super Bowl?
Um, we got to pick. I'll go Eagles over the man. I guess I'm not saying the Jets. I'm having a tough time with the AFC. Maybe Chargers?
Chargers. Ooh, okay. A little dark horse. Justin Herbert kicks in gear, maybe.
Yeah, you never know.
That'd make for an interesting Super Bowl. I'd enjoy that.
Yeah. Yeah, some new blood, kind of. I mean, the Eagles were there last year, but yeah, I'd like to see
And the
Hurts.
AFC side, at least.
I had Hurts as my guy last year, so a little soft spot for him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Hurts has been one of the most popular picks for people's fantasy MVP. I think he's been tossed out there 3 or 4 times now, so people are pretty high on him. Um, so thinking about our league a little bit, obviously I'm in the shame chair this year, but we've had quite a variety of people who finished last. Who do you think ends in the circle of shame this upcoming year?
It's tough to say before draft day. I don't know. It's going to come down obviously to then, but whoever has the most distractions going on. I don't know if anyone's getting married this next year or not. I'm trying to think. I don't think anyone is.
Oh, I
At
don't
least
think so.
at least so far. But yeah, it's hard to throw a name out there because you never know. It could be me.
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about distractions, you might have one of the biggest distractions coming your way. So,
That's some reverse psychology. Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, I should be probably concerned for myself.
all right, well, let's flip it around here a little bit and think about the other side of it. Whose turn is it to take home a title? I mean, you've been dancing around that top four for a while now. Is it your year? Or someone else's year?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be me. I've been knocking on the door. I'm ready to bust through the championship and take it home.
Ready to get past that last barrier.
Yep.
Well, when we think about last place, you think about first place. There's one other thing we got to think about as it relates to our league, and you might actually have a shout here too. Every week we obviously have a little punishment for the lowest score, and with that comes the old Tuesday shotgun. So, who do you think ends up with the fastest shotgun this year, and who do you think does the most shotguns?
I think our commissioner's put up some pretty impressive times in the past. It's not gonna be me. I'm not talented there, but yeah. So I'll go with Coco for fastest and for the most. I'm trying to think. I feel like we don't see a lot of Mr. Kinsey. Maybe him. I think
Okay,
he had some at work shotguns, which is unique. I like seeing those. So maybe more of that.
that's a real it's a real specialist job situation when you get to shotgun at work rather than before work.
Yes, absolutely.
He's got a nice little situation lined up there. But okay, so we'll move on to the last segment here. I just want to get your thoughts on some of the big rumors that are floating around. Get your take, see where you fall out on them. So the first one I want to address is the rumor that's floating out there that the commissioner is looking to step down in 2040. Obviously, that will have been quite a long reign for him. Uh, Curious what your thoughts are on the commissioner potentially stepping down way in the future.
Yeah. I guess I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, 16 years is a long time from now, and the landscape of the game might change by then. So who knows what's going to happen? I think so far so good. So maybe we might say 16 more years after this next decade and a half. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? He might stick around until there's no league left. I think someone else used the term dictator Kokoris, and I'm not going to coin that, but I thought it was a good one.
Yeah, you're not gonna
But I think, sorry, say that again.
you're not gonna name names.
No, not going to name names on it. All right, so one of the other big rumors, and I think that I know where you'll fall out on this one, but one of the other big rumors is obviously that there was a little funny business going on with the draft pick order for this year. Commissioner ends up with a 1-1. You're down again toward the bottom. How do you feel? How do you feel about the way the draft order played out?
I had some offline communication with our commissioner about that. I have a conspiracy theory that my name being entered in all capitals the last few years has somehow confused the software or whatever algorithm is making those miniature players run. So next year I've asked for him to type my name in all lowercase. So we'll see how that plays out. But unfortunately, we're gonna have
I,
to wait quite a long time to prove that theory.
yeah, I mean, if that ends up being true, though, I think you got a big scandal on your hands. That's a multi-year scandal. The commissioner's gonna have to pay some reparations.
Yeah, his attorneys will be hearing from mine. We'll see if we can prove anything at this next commissioners or owners meeting before next season. Until then, we'll just have to bide our time and keep on researching.
All right, last one I got for you. Obviously, one of the other contentious subjects in our league right now is around Mr. Steve Blazer and his delay in doing his G League punishment. Wanted to get your take on, how you feel about that delay overall, and whether or not you think he'll end up on a basketball court in the near future.
I did see the commissioner reach out again tonight. So far I have my phone here, and I don't believe I've seen a response to that second wave of texts. I think, as far as I know, he's receiving texts. So we'll see if we get any kind of answer out of Steve. But if the past few years have shown us anything, I would be surprised if the Bulls have any extra applicants this year.
I mean, it would really be something to see him out on a G League court, though.
I would
I
love
would love to see that.
I would love to see that. I know they say we need to restrict cameras, but we got to get a camera in there.
Oh, there's got to be at least one, because that footage is just going to be gold.
Oh yeah, that's priceless. Yeah.
Well, anyway, Jack, thank you so much for joining us today. Best of luck in the upcoming draft. Best of luck for the season. Hopefully, this is the year that you bust through the door. And best of luck with the new assistant joining your team. I hope everything goes well there, and the missus is good to go, and Team O'Malley is looking a little stronger.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks for doing this. You're doing a great job here.
Yep. And to our listeners out there, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the FTTC podcast, and we look forward to speaking with you soon. Catch you later.